Hey guys, Rachel Youngston here from useplr.com and wholefoodplr.com. We are here with our weekly PLR Power Hour. This is where we ask questions, get advice, talk about ways to use PLR, and more than anything, we really kind of showcase our businesses and talk about where we're going, what makes us great, and it's a time for us all to kind of come together as a community. Today, with everything going on, we're filming this in 2020, so it's the wonderful coronavirus, COVID-19, all that fun upheaval. And I've been thinking about ways that we as a community can help lift each other up during this time, but also connect with each other and continue to build and foster those relationships with each other. So I've been thinking on it. I am religious, so I've been praying on it a little bit. And this is what I have decided. I've decided that this would be a really great time for us to bring blogging back. Some of us have blogs, some of us don't. Some of us have blogs, but we never update them. If you're a great blogger, then that's great. Then what you're going to do is going to be super simple. You're just going to make sure that we all know about your blog and how great it is. If you're like me and you're not a great blogger, it's going to be a little more difficult. I feel like a great path forward for us as a group would be if we made the commitment to make a couple of blog posts each week. And I, in turn, would make the commitment to have threads once or twice a week where we can share our blogs. The purpose of this is not only to get our message out, but it also helps us to be doing something productive and be creating content while all of this is going on. It's an easy way to create content that doesn't really, it's not always fun, but on the other hand, it's not like we're pushing each other to do full reports and full products that might take your eyes away from what you're already working on. And it's also a great way for us to look at potential JV partnerships and all of that kind of stuff. Not to mention, there's always the opportunity for us to, if Carol and I, let's say, have a similar blog, maybe we're in related niches, it's a great opportunity for me to comment on hers and say, hey, wow, that's really great. I completely understand where you're coming from, and therefore help my community member. It's kind of like my mindset in kind of navigating all this stuff has been, well, let's say like the local restaurants where I am, they keep saying, eat local, eat from your local stores, because even though we're all in this crisis, or we're all in this, really uncertain time, we want to help those in our local community to stay strong. For us, we're online. So our community is this community. And so while yes, I feel like it's super important that we help everyone however we can during this time, I am very focused on trying to make sure that this community is taken care of. Greg says where he is, they have Takeout Tuesdays, which I think is great. We had a restaurant day just a couple weeks ago, which was really nice. It kind of breaks up the monotony of going through your fridge like a scavenger, but it also lets you know that you're doing something kind for others, which is really nice. I have to say that the more cases that come in our little area, we're in Maryland, the more I kind of get a little, do I want, weigh it out. But definitely, though, if you can, it's a great opportunity to give back. So here's what I'm thinking. Let's make the commitment as a group to bring blogging back, to blog once or twice a week. Doesn't have to be anything major, something that relates to your niche somehow. Because ultimately this is a business building tool as well, right? It's not just it's not just me saying, hi, I'm stuck in the house. It's day 27 and my family's still alive. So kudos to me. It's more than that. It's got to tie back into what we do in the foundation of our niche and that kind of stuff. But I think it's a great way for us to let each other know who we are, what we're about, and we can do all sorts of fun things with those blog posts as well. Of course, my biggest thing would be, I think it would be a great idea to use PLR to create these blog posts because that's kind of my jam. But however you want to do it's really up to you. And I think if you have PLR in your niche especially, it's super easy to take those blog posts and then tie it in with how you're relating to things, or how it's affected you, or what's happened with you, what's worked, what hasn't worked, how you feel about different things. So it's those blog posts are great foundations. Not needed, but it's a definite wonderful starting point if you need that. I personally think I think that it's the best thing to do, but you do it however you feel comfortable. The main thing is we're going to be focusing on those blogs a little bit more when this is all not when this is all over, but over the next 3 or 4 weeks, you'll have 3 or 4 blog posts. Maybe you'll have 5 or 6 blog posts, and if they're all related to each other, or even if they just all fall under the same niche, then we can talk about what else we can do with those. You can turn them into videos, you can turn them into reports that you can then give away on your site. You can create PowerPoints out of them, like how-to workbooks, anything like that. So we're going to have a lot of options, but I think it all starts with bringing those blogs back. And that's my rant for today. Does anybody have any questions, any thoughts or theories, or likes or dislikes, or woman, you've lost your mind? Please feel free to let me know in the chat, and we will talk about it. But really, that's kind of where I see us going as a group. And anything we do, you don't have to do it. You're not going to get like kicked out of the club or anything. But I really like to find ways for us as a group to connect and build on each other's businesses and that kind of thing. And unfortunately, right now it's a little bit more difficult for some people because people are being more cautious about where they're spending their time and their money and their energy. And so if we can help each other in the sense of whether it be, hey, this person has a really great blog, I'd love for you to know about it, or just supporting each other and getting the word out about our own businesses, I think it's a really powerful way for us to go right now, and it's easy. That's my biggest thing. You guys know I'm really lazy. I don't like doing things that are hard. I like to do things that are easy. Hey there, Jay. Hope you're doing good today. We're just talking about where we're going to, what we're going to be doing with our blogs moving forward, and how we're going to be using them to kind of create products overall, but create engagement and talk about what we do and who we are and that kind of thing, as we kind of navigate this space where our businesses are maybe a little bit excuse me, a little bit in upheaval right now. So let's see. Carol says, that's a great idea. It's another incentive to do 1 to 2 each week. I blog quite regularly, but this is great. Yes, you do. And so like for someone like Carol, who already does this pretty regularly, she really doesn't have to do anything. So she's pretty lucky, right? I mean, she'll just jump on those threads and she'll be like, oh yeah, this is what I did. And people like will be able to say, this is who Carol is, this is what her niche is, this is, and the point is, of course, that we as a community will learn more about each other. I will learn more about Jay. I'll learn more about Greg. I'll learn more about their niches and what they do. And if my niche can correspond with that, then that opens up all this other stuff for us. Potential JV opportunities, potential affiliate, potential, let's get together and create a bundle of some of our products and some of our older products and see if we can move them. There's all sorts of different things that can happen there. But I really want us as a community to be on the same page with advertising who we are and what we do, and this is our niche, and this is us basically. So what we were talking about, Jay, is the goal would be for us to create 1 or 2 blog posts a week. Nothing major. I personally would love to see them created from PLR, but it's really how you want to do it. I think PLR provides a really good foundation. It provides a really good starting point, and the group is called Use PLR. So obviously I'm a little bit biased when it comes to that kind of stuff. But yeah, just a little bit. But we'll do it however you need to do it is how you'll do it. And 1 to 2 blog posts a week. We'll check in the group. I will be posting threads at least once a week, saying, like, encouraging everyone to share their blogs, share their latest blog posts, and then we can go and comment on each other's, get a little bit of traffic to each of our blog posts. Once we do this for 4 or 5 weeks, we will have essentially 5 to 10 pages of content. And that content can then be turned into reformatted into other things that we can put on our site or used as create lead magnets off of, and that kind of thing. The one thing I will say that I always stress is if you give stuff away for free, don't then charge for it. So if you have this really great blog post series and you want to turn it into something, I would not then charge for it, because then you run the risk of a customer saying, hey, wow, I paid for this, but if I was more diligent, I could have read it all on your site, and that kind of ticks me off. You don't really want your customers to feel cheated like that. So we're looking at other free ways that we can use these things to grow our reach. So does anyone have any questions? Jay, I'll get you the information for our group just in case you need that. And that way, if this is something that seems like something that you might want to do to kind of build your business and build your presence, feel free to jump in and pay attention to the threads, and we will start showcasing this. We typically have replays in the group as well, and that should be up Thursday at the latest, because Wednesday is a heavy meeting day for me. So after we do this, after we do these blogs, after we get a little bit of traction here, I think that the next step for us would be kind of to see where things are. As far as my hope is, as we're all getting feedback and we're all touching base with each other and finding out who in the group has like interests or similar things, it will help us navigate a path forward. So for me, for instance, I have all these past PLR power hours, like a year's worth. And so I was thinking, rather than, well, actually almost 2 years worth. I was thinking rather than, throw my head up against the wall and try to figure out what am I going to do for these blog posts, I've already got these videos. These videos are already content. They're free content for my members. Why not make the decision to make a blog post around each video? Because then I have new content, I have the video embedded, and it boosts my blog, and it's nothing different. It's just a different platform. It's not me reinventing the wheel or trying to create something from scratch. And so that's what I intend to do with this blog challenge. I'm also, of course, going to be using PLR wherever I can. I actually use PLR a lot, and I don't typically mention it, but I do. So you'll probably see like a video and a blurb and all the stuff relevant to that video, but also a little bit of PLR knowledge allowing me to go into a little bit more depth of what the topic is about. But it's not reinventing the wheel. And that's what I would encourage everyone to think about as we navigate through this. Use what you already have, and remember that you don't have to reinvent. Even if you already have PLR on a certain subject, use it again. I mean, if it's not already a blog post, make it a blog post. I mean, there's no law against that. As long as it's not something that people pay for somewhere else, go ahead, knock your socks off. And then, of course, you can get really creative and you can make like your social media images and all of that. We did talk a lot about the blog strategy in one of our other power hours, and you can find that in the units section of our Facebook group. But overall though, that's really in a nutshell what I'd really like to see us do is take this time, take this opportunity, create the blog, kind of interact with everybody in a different way, have the potential for niches and that kind of thing, and go from there. Does anyone have any questions or anything that they want to chat about before we kind of open this up to, hey, here we are, this is what we're doing this week and all that kind of stuff? If you do, please feel free to leave them in the chat box. Sure, Mr. Greg, you want to go ahead and unmute yourself, my friend, or you want me to do it? Let's see. Sorry, they just updated Zoom, so I'm trying to like, how are you?
Okay. How are you? Hanging in there. Everybody's hanging in there, I think, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
As
right?
best we
Yeah.
can.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. With respect to the blog posts, would you, and I'm just trying to think of what area I do, and I could do them on a whole bunch of different things or kind of keep a similar kind of trend going from post to post.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be better to keep sort of the same kind of thread? Like if I did stress reduction, do you think it'd be best to keep that same topic throughout, or would it be better to do something on stress reduction today, something on getting out and exercising the next day, and how that can be beneficial to your circulatory system? And then, you know what I mean? Like, would it be better to mix it up on a whole bunch of different things?
Here's what I'm thinking. Hey, Jen, good to see you, my friend. Here's what I'm thinking. Hi. You can do it either way, but I feel that there is a good, I always look at things in terms of how can I use every inch and every speck of this, like squeeze it all up before I go to something else. And in terms of the blog posts, if they are related to each other, let's say you decide to do like 5 topics on stress reduction, ways to relieve stress at home, sleeping and stress reduction, even getting outside and how that reduces stress. As long as the theme is stress reduction, then you have the opportunity to then create a report from that, a PowerPoint, a video, and you have all of these blog posts working together to create something bigger. If you choose to do different topics, different themes and everything every day, that's fine too, or every blog post, that's fine too. That's what we say a lot here is that it's your business. We're just kind of here as a group to support your business decisions. But if your goal is then to repurpose that, it might be a little bit harder. If your goal is then to turn it into like a lead magnet or something else, it might be a little bit harder if they're not, if those posts aren't related in some way. One thing I do over at PLR is I typically, when I start a blog post, is I break it down into like 5 different posts. And then at the end of those 5 posts, you've learned, whether it be about the social media images or basic content repurposing, but you've learned something in the course of those 5 posts. And then I can bundle those up, and that's another lead magnet. That's another thing that I create a page on my site for. And I say, oh, this is so great. Look, you're going to learn this and this and this and this. And then at the bottom, it's like free for you today. And then you sign up. So personally, I like the idea of keeping those themes together. Even if you want to get creative and change the theme a little bit, as long as you kind of keep that bottom line central theme, like sleep deprivation across all 5, or anxiety and stress reduction across all 5, then I think that works out great too. Think of it like a report. You can have like different chapters of a report, and they can be like on totally different things, but the common underlying theme is the same. So in this case, we're just kind of looking at the report and then working backwards. So Miss Jen, good to see you today. We're talking about bringing blogging back. That's what I'm thinking we should be doing during this time. And so the challenge is, sorry about the plane, but the challenge is going to be for us as a group to create 1 or 2 blog posts a week. And I will have a thread each week that goes out, kind of like our Monday, Wednesday, Friday threads. And on this thread, you will be able to shout out your blog, your latest blog posts, what you do and that kind of thing. And the hope is that it then creates engagement and it allows others to know what you do, and it creates the possibility for JV partnerships. It also is going to give you the chance, once you have like 4 or 5 or 6 or 8 blog posts, to start thinking about ways that you can rework that. Can I make this into a tip sheet? Can I make this into a video? Can I, what else can I do with this? That can be another source of free material that I then use to get more subscribers and that kind of goodness. So that's our challenge. Do you have any questions on that? I bet you don't, because you do PLR. I bet it's pretty self-explanatory. Nope, she's good. I think she's at work. Are you at work?
No, I'm at home. I just had to turn the alarm off.
Oh, okay.
She's got to get on Zoom with one of her teachers. So,
okay, understood.
So my thoughts are, I think it's a great idea. Mm-hmm. I don't know how well I will do at participating, because blogging for me, I used to blog and do like nothing but blogging back before I got into PLR. I actually, I had a special needs site, and I did that, and I did podcasting. And I used a lot of PLR to do blog posts. So there's definitely value there, and using PLR can actually make it a lot easier to do. But with that being said, blogging is like my least favorite thing to do the last few years. I don't know why, but it is. I even had somebody else helping to do the blogging for me. And that may be something that I look at doing again at some point. But right now, personally, I don't know what that's going to look like and if I'll be able to participate or not.
I really like your honesty. Because that is true. It isn't for everybody. And a lot of times when I think about these types of things, I think about what will help us connect as a community. And also, I try to look at areas that I lack in myself, because the whole purpose, well, as most of you know, the whole purpose of all of this is not only for me to help guide you through your business, but vice versa. It works both ways. And so I know that one thing that I could really be doing right now is boosting my blog. And I know one thing that I could really be doing right now is finding a way to support my community members. And so that's kind of how it all came about. For folks like Jen, who may not choose to do this, that's totally okay. I mean, like we said, you're not going to get kicked out of the cool kids table. You're still going to, you'll still get Christmas and all that fun stuff. But it also might serve someone like Jen in the sense that if she's scrolling through Facebook and she sees the thread and she sees a blog post that might catch her eye, maybe on how I made $1,000 on KDP, that might then, Jen does planners and journals, PLR planners and journals. So that might then turn around and be something that Jen might want to share with her audience. Possibly, I mean, we're all looking, if we're not creating products right now and other people aren't buying like they usually do, then it's a great time to say, hey, here's free information or a free gift for you today, because people will always open those emails because everybody loves free stuff. And the best part is they'll typically open them no matter what time of the day you send them, because they like free stuff. So it would be an easy thing for Jen to then share with her community if it suits her.
Right.
And then the other person is getting feedback from that. Jen's now getting a higher open rate because her audience is getting something. So they're seeing her offers that they might not see otherwise because they're not looking at, they wouldn't open it if it wasn't for that free gift. So yeah, I totally get it, Jen. Totally understand. Hopefully though, there will be something that will serve us. And at the very end of this, if nothing else, hopefully we'll be able to know, we've got over 500 members in the group. We'll be able to know, oh, well, this person's on the self-help side. So if I need any help with self-help, or I need any possible JV partnerships, or I want, to give somebody the ability to promote my stuff as an affiliate, this is, this is a list of a few people that I would go to. This is does that make sense? This is our hypnosis guy, our hypnosis guru, Greg. If I need XYZ, Greg was in O Magazine. Don't let him, he's going to pretend that he's modest, but don't let him be modest. He knows his stuff. But anyway, so like if I need anything that's related to that kind of stuff, I can go to Greg or XYZ, others in the group who may do something similar. And that kind of helps us all grow as a community as well, in the sense of supporting each other. Jen, before you came on, we were talking a little bit about how like the local businesses and things are saying, things are going so crazy right now, but it would really be great if we could support the local businesses. And I was telling everyone how in our situation, we're all online. So it's not really supporting our local businesses. It's more like us supporting our community, which is, for me, this community. So I'm looking for ways to help this community support each other. Not that we're not supporting anybody else, but kind of like the restaurants do.
I'm totally on board with that part of it. And that's actually something I've kind of been trying to figure out how to do myself. I know you and I had talked back when we were doing the bundle about, I kind of wanted to get back into coaching, and things kind of went crazy, so I haven't been able to explore that a lot, but it is something that I want to do. So, that's where I'm looking at being able to support the community, and that includes people here too.
And if you guys, if you decide that you do want to open up a coaching program, let me know, because I'd be more than happy to share it with everyone. And the KDP side of it, I assume, is that part of what you would be coaching, or is that the
not so much. I honestly don't do a whole lot with KDP personally. I've done enough to know how to do it and how my customers are using it.
Okay.
But it's not a huge part of what I do. I honestly, when it comes to the coaching part, for me, my coach training, it was actually fairly well-rounded. I actually am a certified coach. Went through like a year-long process and had to, do testing and all kinds of stuff. So I really want to get back to that. And I think for me, I'm looking at a combination of being able to support people in their business and how that ties into your personal stuff, like everybody's finding out right now. Even those of us who are used to working from home are having to make monumental shifts. Like my kid is in the other room on a Zoom call with her teacher right now. That's way different than what I'm used to. I'm totally used to having a couple of days out of the week where nobody's home. I have the place to myself, and it does take a little bit of a mindset shift. Mm-hmm. So I want to be able to develop something along that line, where I can support both of those aspects.
That's a really good angle too.
Yeah.
Especially right now.
Yeah. So, I have to figure out how to do that.
Once you do, if you need help brainstorming, you can always touch base with me. But once you figure it out and figure out your like introductory offer or how you want to go about it, let me know and we'll start showcasing it.
Yeah, I'll reach out to you too, just to get kind of some feedback.
Yeah, please do. Yeah. Please do.
And I totally see how blogging could like help support that, but I also have to be really aware of my limited amount of time, because I do have a part-time job outside of what I do here, and I'm a single mom, and I have to care for my own mother, who is medically fragile.
Mm-mm.
Middle of all of this. So yeah, you gotta pick your battles.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's completely true. And that's something that I want everyone to be conscious of too, as we don't want you to get into for me, that's why I chose blogging, because I feel like 1 or 2 a week is attainable for my schedule, but it's not attainable for everybody. And one thing that you don't want to do is get yourself into something where you feel like it's pulling teeth, because then you're not going to want to do it, right? And it's going to go to the end of your schedule, and it's not going to get done, and then you're not going to get any benefit from it, and it's just going to bog down everything that you are doing that's earning you customers and money right now. So yeah, definitely being conscientious of your time um, is perfect, and definitely the way to go. Greg says, do you want us to share free gifts for each other to offer? Yeah, that would be great. That would be great, Greg, because that would not only boost your ability to get other people to share your stuff, but um, it would also help to for you to stand out in their minds of, oh, Greg does this, Carol does this, as opposed to these different blog posts. Jay says Anik Segal, and I'm sorry, Jay, if I'm getting that name wrong, is helping entrepreneurs who are having a rough time. And he dropped a link. So people can apply for cash for groceries, etc., or they can donate. He has $30,000 for the first round of funding, and I think he is almost fully funded for number 2. Another $30,000. We continue to work. We can support local businesses. I have found that updating titles on how to earn online, start our own business, etc., to make sure they are current for 2020 has been really useful. Did them at the last recession, and everything old is new again. I love that. You're absolutely right. That is another great point, and another great thing that we should maybe take just a second to touch on. Yeah, you can totally use what you've already got and update it for 2020, new and improved, revised, expanded edition, however you want to do it. It's a great way to get fresh eyes on things. It's a great way to, like we said, not hurt your head, but still get things done. Not reinvent the wheel, not start with a blank page. And if you've used PLR for any of your past products or things like that, go back through it and see where you can make changes. Or if there's another piece of PLR that's more current, maybe see if you can make a side piece to that or in addition to that. And we can always blog about what we're doing, blog about our experiences. If you create a product, you can always take a few articles or create a few blog posts to promote that product. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. That's a great point, Jay. The whole idea of revamping something for the new year, or revamping something for a time of crisis, is such an easy way to get fresh eyes to things and make your material fresh. As long as it is, I can't stress this enough, if it's something that somebody is paying for, it does actually have to be revised and revamped. It does have to actually have new content and that kind of stuff. If they're not paying for it, I would still go through and just make sure it's current and all that stuff, and maybe throw a few things in there, but I wouldn't be as worried about it as I would for those who are paying for something, because the last thing I want to do is have my customers feel jilted. I'm not saying that towards you, Jay. I'm just saying that because we do have a replay available, so a lot of folks listen after the fact, and I want them to be aware of that. Jen says, I'll be back in a minute. Okay, Jen, I'll see you in a minute. So yeah, so like as you can see with Jen, a lot of us are doing this whole thing now where we're kind of juggling having family home, having things going on. I'm really fortunate because my teen's on spring break this week, so he's home, but he's not. Nothing school related happening this week. So Jay, thank you very much for that link. I will be sure to check that out. And for everyone else, I will, after I check it out, I will put it in the resources, as long as I am able to, verify things a little bit. Again, nothing against anyone. I always like to make sure that I am I take accountability, I guess I should say, for everything that goes in the resource notes and that kind of thing. So does anybody have any questions or anything else that they want to throw out here for us today? Especially you, Jay, if you wanted to chat a little bit about what you do, or if you have any questions for us today, or if you wanted to even just throw your site out there, if you have a site, feel free to do that. What we typically do is, if it's something that truly benefits the community, then we will put that information in the show notes, and that goes on our YouTube channel. It goes in the units section of our Facebook group, and it also gets put out in our email starting like Thursday and Friday, somewhere around there. And that's kind of how people take advantage of these power hours as far as shouting out their businesses and what they do. The only thing I will say is sometimes folks try, no, let me say it differently. If the website is spammy or something like that, or something that isn't truly helpful, but is more of buy my stuff, then I like I said, I take responsibility for that kind of stuff. Let's see. Jen says, I have a couple of thoughts about types of blogs. Let's go, Jen. Let's hear it.
Okay, so I'm not sure where to start. So a couple of ideas would be, like, what do you know how to do that you could share, and maybe like split that up over a series? Do we have a timeline for this, Rachel? Did you
No,
have
I'm
an
thinking
idea?
like maybe through April and maybe May,
Okay.
but I'm
Okay.
not sure.
Okay. So yeah, maybe that's one thing to do. Like, what do you know how to do that you could do screenshots of, or you could include a video of, and maybe spread that out over like 4 different posts, and they don't have to be like gargantuan 4-page posts either. You could do list posts. What are the top 10 things that you see your community struggling with right now, and how do you see people responding to those things? That's just an idea off the top of my head. It can also be informational stuff. So especially if you already have PLR that relates to your particular niche, then use some of that. Edit at least a little bit of it. Make it sound like it's coming from you. But then you can share information. There's like, I don't know how many people get stuck in just being able to blog about like one certain type of a blog post, but blog posts can be so many things. They can take on so many formats. So I just encourage people to think about it from where your heart is.
That's great advice, Jen. And just you saying that made me think your blog post could be like something like 10 tips to survive social distancing, if that's your niche, and you could make a series of blog posts just based around like different tips every day, or a list every day of tips, and that could just be it. I mean,
that's a great idea too.
Nothing to really hurt your head. The purpose, though, is going to be that at the end of this kind of uncertain time with our businesses, we have these potential products, these potential things that we can use to expand our reach. And that's the goal. That's the real goal. So whether that is you create how-to video every day and you embed it in your blog post, and then you just write like 3 sentences so people don't wind up on your page and they're like, what the heck am I doing here? Then that's it. If that's it, then that's it.
Yeah.
The purpose is, though, that you have something to build off of as we kind of, because there will obviously be a time when things kind of level off, and our bottom lines will be back where they were prior to this. And so we want to really be able to take advantage of that and have things at the ready, so to speak. Plus, these blog posts can definitely serve as potential products that you can create in the future. If you see something that gets a lot of good comments or a lot of good traction, that's really a great signal that maybe I should expand on this and create even a low-cost product, like a $7 or $9.95 product. just so that we can keep those buy buttons going out. So
you could turn it into like an opt-in product too. Like if you were making lists, if you make, you know, one list a week as a blog post, compile all of those, add a little bit of information explaining it all, and you've got a great opt-in thing.
you and I are right here, my friend. That's funny because right before you came on, that's what we were talking about, is how things can be bundled into opt-ins and that kind of thing.
And if you did how-to videos, compile all of that information at the end, and you've got a $47 product or a $147 product, depending on how much stuff is in there. You know.
Yeah. The one thing that I advised for me is if something's given away for free, not to then charge for it,
right?
Unless, like, if you get ideas from like certain blog posts and that kind of thing, then you can go ahead and create a product from that, based off of those ideas. But yeah, I totally agree with you. There's so much potential, I think. And right now, what we're really just trying to do is navigate how we can find our footing and keep ourselves sharing what we're all doing, keep ourselves engaged as a community, keep our spirits up, quite honestly, while we're trying to kind of figure this out. I don't mind saying my bottom line has taken a bit of a hit. Things do seem to be coming back up to what I would expect for this time of year. But I mean, I'm going to be real. I always try to be transparent, and yeah, I do feel an effect, and I don't know, like, as time goes on and more people are you know, having these big life shifts, how that trickle down is going to affect me. And I'm sure that it's going to affect me. I'm sure it's going to affect all of us to some degree. So these are just ways of trying to be ready for all of that. Or trying to not prepare us, but get us in the best situation for ourselves and our businesses, and keep everything kind of moving in the right direction. Okay, folks. Well, if no one has anything else today, I think I have pretty much rambled all I can ramble. If anyone has any questions or anything, please feel free to drop them in the comments. If you want to talk about anything specific, please feel free to let me know. If you have any questions between this week and next week, you can find me at rachel@useplr.com, or you can tag me in our Facebook group. Jay, thank you so much for that link. I will be checking that out, and I will be adding that to the resources of this call after I look at everything. Jay says sales have been very perky on KDP. People have more time to read or are looking for info ideas. Yeah. You know, it's funny you said that, because I'm doing Jenny Hunt's 10 books in 10 days. And she was saying basically the same thing, that so many people right now are focused on like staying sane in quarantine and that kind of stuff. If you are one of my friends who is in any kind of low content niche, such as KDP, now might be a really good time to think about how you can maybe make use of what's going on for good. Obviously, use your powers for good. Where am I? Okay, Greg says, what's KDP? For those of you who are listening to the replay, that stands for Kindle Direct Publishing. Jen says it's Amazon's ebooks and their print-on-demand books. Exactly. What they'll do basically is they'll give you a commission. You get like a cut if you create the book, they print it out, they send it to their person, you get like a commission on that. Jay says, I'm updating the guides for 2020 and republishing in a new edition, and then tell KDP to take down the old edition, so then they promote the new edition. Smart move, my friend. Very smart. I think we could use your KDP skills in our group if you're not there already, because just so that we can keep, we do have some low content folks in our group. Jen makes a lot of the great planners and journals that people then use to do this kind of stuff, but we can always use more more feedback for this stuff. Print will not be good now because of the Amazon warehouse shipping being so slow, but the ebooks are booming. Yeah, in fact, I heard that there's, I don't know how true it is, but I did hear that there's a couple of folks in the warehouses who've tested positive. So I assume, not that it's the end of the world, but I do assume that they're probably going to change up their processes. Maybe they'll be a little slower while they figure that stuff out with those warehouses. So I definitely agree with you there.
Another aspect of that too is that Amazon doesn't actually print. Like if I put up a journal on their KDP site, they don't actually print my product. Somebody local to where the order comes from prints it. So if some of those places are closed down because of stay-at-home orders, that could cause some issues as well.
Oh,
I don't know that that's happening everywhere, but it could be happening. One of the things that, you were talking about our bottom lines dropping down. I think this is a really good time, and I think a lot of people are already doing this, but to shift and pivot and be flexible with, not with changing everything, but with taking what you already know and what you already have and being able to put it somewhere else that's slightly different that works better. So what I've noticed is some of the stuff that I put up on Etsy that people can print on their own at home is starting to sell. And it's exactly the same stuff that I already have used at places like KDP. So it's not really changing much for me, but it's making it more accessible for other people. And those people are starting to look for those things because they don't have access to some of this other stuff now.
I thank you for saying that, and thank you for clarifying the Amazon thing. See, this is what happens when I just go spreading all those mistruths, but I didn't realize that they had another publishing agency. So I appreciate you heard that they go local publishers. But she's totally right. Pay attention to what Jen and Jay are saying. It's like we were talking about for our folks who are listening after the fact. Don't reinvent the wheel. Don't worry about reinventing the wheel. Right now, it's about getting things out, getting things done. And let's do that however we can and the best way that we can. I do invite you to do our blogging challenge if you're able to. It's 1 or 2 blog posts a week. If you have a lot of resistance to it, like for instance Jen said she does right now, be honest with yourself about that, because the last thing I would want to do is see your other projects slide to the back for this. But I do think there's a great potential if you are able to do it. For us to learn more about you and for us to get some engagement going and for possible products and all that good stuff. So,
and I'll be honest, the more that we've talked about stuff, the less resistance I'm having to it. Like other things are kind of popping into my head like, oh, well, I could probably do that and I could probably do that fairly quickly. I wouldn't have to put in a whole lot of time to it because time is my number one problem.
Yeah, I completely understand. And there's the whole peer pressure factor too. So I'd hate to peer pressure you into it. Jay says, yeah, they're only shipping out essential stuff. Yeah, which, I do FBA, Jay, also. And we've been getting a lot of like crackdown stuff. Like we're not accepting this, and this. We're only accepting things that are considered household essentials right now. So yeah, you're exactly right about that. Okay, folks, it's really great talking to you guys today. If you have any questions or you need me, Rachel@uspLR.com, or find me in the Facebook group. And this recording will be up probably Thursday. So, because Wednesday I got fun meetings. So, have a great day, everybody, and we will talk later. Take care.